I was speaking about a book called The Rules of Life, and the author is Richard Templar. And the reason why I'm referring to this is because things which he says benefits you. And it's important that you start to think about you and what you need to do to make yourself feel better, to liberate yourself, to free your mind. One of his rules was this: accept yourself. Because if you accept that what's done is done, you're left with yourself, exactly as you are. You can't go back and change anything, so you've got to work with what you've got. Let's begin with a simple accepting. Accepting is easy, because that is exactly what it says. Just accept. You don't have to improve or change or strive for perfection. Quite the opposite. You just accept. This doesn't mean we are happy with everything about ourselves, or we're going to be lazy and lead a bad life. We are going to accept the way we are initially, and then build on that. But what we are not going to do is to beat ourselves up because we don't like some bits. We can change lots, but that will come later. Now this has to be a rule, because there can be no choice here. We have to accept that we are the way we are, the result of everything that has happened. It all just is. You, like me, like all of us, are humans. And that means you are pretty complex. You come fully loaded with desires, anguish, sins, pettiness at times, mistakes, ill temper, rudeness, deviation, hesitation and repetition. But that is what makes a human being so wonderful, the complexity. None of us can ever be perfect. We start with what we've got and who we are, and then we can only make a choice each day to strive for some kind of better. And that's all you can ask of yourself, to make that choice. To be awake and aware, to be ready to do the right thing, to be aware that some days you will fall short. But that's okay. Don't beat yourself up. Accept that you will fail from time to time and that you're a human. But stop picking faults with yourself or giving yourself a hard time. Instead, just accept you are the way that you are. Here's another rule. Know what counts and what doesn't. Being here counts. Being alive counts. Being kind and considerate, that counts. Getting through each day without seriously offending or hurting anyone counts. Having the latest technology doesn't. Doing something useful with your life counts. Going shopping because you're bored doesn't. Yes, by all means go shopping, but see what you do as counting or not counting, being real or not being real, having value or not, being of some benefit or not. This rule means focusing on what is important to you in your life and making positive changes to ensure you feel happy with what you are dedicating your life to. It means knowing roughly where you are going and what you are doing, being awake rather than asleep, having time for loved ones and friends. That's important. Watching the latest soap on television isn't. Nurturing your children and teaching them real values is important, but dressing them in designer fashion isn't. You get the idea. Think about what you do that counts and do more of it. Another rule is this: be your own advisor. Deep down within all of us is a font of wisdom, and this is called intuition. Listening to your intuition is a slow learning process, but it starts by recognizing that tiny inner voice or feeling that will tell you when you've done something you shouldn't have. But it's an incredibly still, quiet voice, and it needs silence and concentration to hear it properly to begin with. You might like to call it your conscience if you like, but deep down you know when you've done something bad. You know when you've got to apologize or make amends or put things right. You know, and I know you know. I know because we all know. Once you start listening to that inner voice or feeling, you will find it can help. The key is when you hear your intuition telling you whether something is right or wrong before you do it. So just try running stuff past your inner you before doing things and see the reaction you get. You ask the questions and you answer yourself. And you'll find that you already know everything you need to know. Listen, and it's all there. But when I say listen, I don't mean listen to what goes on in your head, because that really is where madness lies. No, I mean a stiller, quieter voice. For some it's more feeling than a voice. Sometimes it's what we call our gut instinct. And even if it is a voice, a lot of the time, it doesn't speak at all, unlike your mind, which babbles on incessantly. And if it does, you can miss it in the torrent of words that your mind produces. This isn't about predicting what's going to happen. No, this is important stuff. What we're about to do, big decisions we have to make, why we are behaving in the way we are. You already know the answer if you ask yourself. Rule: have no fear. There is nothing in life to be afraid of. Don't be surprised. If you wake up, then nothing can sneak up on you. No hesitation. Weigh up the odds and get on with it. And no doubt, get on with it and trust your judgment completely. Another rule: change what you can change, but let go of the rest. Time is short, a fact that we can't escape. It's a given. But if time is short, then it makes sense not to go wasting any of it. Not a single, lovely, precious moment of it. This is observation that successful people in life are the ones who bring every last ounce of satisfaction and energy out of life. And they do it by practicing this simple rule. They pay attention to what in their life they have some control over, and they simply and economically, in a time-wise sense, let go of the rest. If you dedicate yourself personally to things you can change, areas you can make a difference, then life becomes richer and more fulfilled. And the more rich it is, curiously, the more time you seem to have. Obviously, if lots of us get together, we can change pretty well anything. But this is a rule for you. This is your personal set. And this is about what you can change. The only definite influence we have is over ourselves. The only thing we can really, really change is ourselves. So what a chance to make a real contribution. Begin with yourself and then let this spread outwards. So this way, you don't have to waste time talking to those who won't listen. We don't have to waste effort or energy or resources on things we have no control of and no certainty of any success. But by changing ourselves, you can be assured of a result. Finally, let me say this. This is important for you. Don't dwell on the past. Whatever the past was, it's gone. There is nothing you can do to change anything that has gone before. And so you must turn your attention to the here and the now. Live here. Live in the now. Live in this moment.